Huawei is back in the spotlight, and this time, it's their upcoming phone, the Pura 80 Ultra, that's drawing all the attention. With fresh leaks making waves online, tech fans are getting a clearer picture of what Huawei might be planning. The company is well known for its impressive smartphone cameras, and now it seems they're taking a new turn, focusing not just on power, but also on design and usability. Most people expected the Pura 80 Ultra to come with a large camera bump, like many other high-end phones. But new reports suggest something completely different. A reliable source on Weibo has revealed that Huawei might be introducing an ultra-thin camera design. This is quite a shift from the norm, especially since bigger camera modules are usually linked to better performance. Huawei, however, seems determined to offer both. A slim phone with a camera setup that can still compete with the best. So, what could this thin design be hiding? According to leaks, Huawei has been working on some serious camera upgrades. One of the most exciting rumors is about a new CMOS telephoto lens that supports multiple focal lengths. This means better zoom performance, clearer images at various distances, and more flexibility for mobile photography. It's the kind of lens that can give users more control without the usual size increase that comes with such features. There's also talk about a periscope-style telephoto camera with variable zoom levels. If this is true, it would be a major step forward from fixed zoom systems. Users would be able to take sharper photos both up close and from far away without switching lenses or compromising on quality. Huawei seems focused on creating a more professional camera experience in a phone that still feels light and slim. Another major point of interest is the main camera sensor. Leaks suggest Huawei could be using a self-developed 1-inch sensor. If this turns out to be true, it would bring noticeable improvements in low-light photography, image detail, and color accuracy. What makes this more impressive is the idea that Huawei could be doing all this without a big, bulky camera bump. The decision to focus on a thinner design isn't just about looks. It's also practical. A slimmer camera setup means the phone is more comfortable to hold and easier to carry around. It fits better in your pocket and feels more balanced in your hand. Huawei seems to understand that while users love advanced features, they also care about how a phone feels during everyday use. That said, not everyone is convinced yet. Some early images of the Pura 80 Ultra showed what looked like a large camera bump, and fans were quick to compare it to the Pura 70 Ultra. It raised doubts about whether the phone would actually be thinner. But more recent leaks suggest those early photos might not reflect the final version of the phone. Is Apple finally ready to change the iPhone in ways that actually feel new? According to recent leaks, the answer is yes, and not just for the iPhone 17. The next few years could bring some major cosmetic and screen upgrades with big changes, expected in 2026 and 2027. And if you're someone who's been waiting for a truly full-screen iPhone, the wait might finally be over soon. Let's start with what we already know. Several reports have already confirmed that the iPhone 17 series, expected next year, will have a new design. One of the most talked about changes is the large camera island, which might look a bit bold to some users. But that's just the beginning. New leaks suggest Apple is planning even bigger visual changes for the iPhones that will launch in 2026 and 2027. According to a supply chain report, Apple's 2026 model, the iPhone 18, will make a huge move by putting Face ID sensors under the display. That means we might finally say goodbye to the dynamic island. Instead, the phone will use a smaller punch hole for the front camera, giving users more screen space and a cleaner look. But the really exciting change is what's expected to happen in 2027. That's when Apple might finally release a true full-screen iPhone. Both the Face ID system and the front selfie camera are expected to be hidden under the display, removing all notches, punch holes, and cutouts completely. If this actually happens, it'll be the first iPhone ever with a screen that's fully uninterrupted. Now here's why this is a big deal. For years, iPhones have looked pretty similar from one generation to the next. Aside from slight camera changes or material upgrades, the front of the iPhone hasn't changed much since the notch was first introduced in 2017. And even though the dynamic island was meant to be a step forward, it was really just a different kind of cutout. The idea of a full-screen iPhone has been floating around for a long time. And if Apple manages to pull it off in 2027, it would mark the 20th anniversary of the original iPhone. That timing feels perfect for a big upgrade. Leaks suggest that Apple might release a new special iPhone Pro model in that year, with a mostly glass-based design and no cutouts. There's also talk about a foldable iPhone finally launching in the same year. Apple has a habit of waiting until a technology is fully ready before it adopts it. So if we really do get a full-screen iPhone in 2027, that likely means the under-display camera and Face ID will be working well enough to match the current quality standards. Other brands have tried under-display cameras before, but the image quality usually takes a hit. Apple will likely want to avoid that. Of course, not everyone is going to be happy with all of these changes. Just like the upcoming iPhone 17 Pro's large camera island, some people may prefer the dynamic island or even the current notch, but change is necessary, especially when it comes to keeping the iPhone feeling fresh. So what do you think? Are you excited about the idea of a full-screen iPhone with no punch hole or notch? Or do you think these updates are just cosmetic and not that important? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more updates on the future of the iPhone. Why does Samsung keep betting on Exynos if it can't keep up? That's the question everyone is asking after the latest leak revealed performance scores for the Galaxy Z Flip 7 powered by the Exynos 2500. And honestly, the results aren't looking good. Not just for this phone, but for the entire future of Samsung's in-house chips. According to a new Geekbench listing that's believed to be for the upcoming Galaxy Z Flip 7, the Exynos 2500 scored 2012 in the single-core test and 7063 in the multi-core test. The listing also confirms the device has 12 GB of RAM and is running Android 16. While these numbers aren't horrible, the reaction from the tech community has been far from positive. Many people feel like they've seen this story before. Samsung promises a better, more competitive Exynos chip, but when the results come out, it still falls short of Snapdragon and Apple's chips. Some fans are accusing Samsung of cutting corners again, while others are just confused why Exynos chips keep trailing this far behind. To give you some perspective, the Snapdragon 8 Elite that powers the Galaxy S25 series scores around 3,220 in single-core and about 10,223 in multi-core. That's a pretty massive gap. Even Apple's older A14 chip from way back in 2020 scores higher than the Exynos 2500 in single-core performance, with a score of 2,079. Sure, the Exynos 2500's multi-core result is close to Apple's A17 Pro from last year, which scored 7,441. But overall, that's not exactly something to brag about when you're launching a new device in 2025. This leak doesn't just make the Galaxy Z Flip 7 look weaker, it also raises doubts about Samsung's next big move. The company is reportedly working on a 2nm chip called the Exynos 2600, which is supposed to power the upcoming Galaxy S26 phones. But if the Exynos 2500 is already struggling, it's hard to feel confident about the Exynos 2600 doing much better. This is especially important because Samsung really needs its chip division to bounce back. Last year, the company had to ship the entire Galaxy S25 lineup with Snapdragon chips because the Exynos 2500 wasn't ready. Now, they're hoping to bring Exynos back with the S26, at least in certain regions. But if the Exynos 2600 doesn't deliver, that plan could backfire badly. At the same time, there are other factors making things more complicated. Qualcomm is reportedly planning to raise prices for its next-gen Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 chip, which could make Galaxy phones more expensive. And with US politics potentially affecting Apple's supply chain under Trump's latest trade plans, the entire smartphone industry is heading toward a more uncertain and expensive future.